Besides all of that, I think that's it, and we can get started, boys. Yeah. Chris,
Good luck, guys. Have fun. Give me something to have fun watching this race for. Alright. For some reason, I don't have my wheel slid over, so. Hello, mate. For some reason, I didn't slide my wheel over on my desk before this, so. Alright, now I have a clear vision of my monitor. I have monitor 2 on the right. That is my main monitor. And then I have number 3 on the left. That has the UDL League stream. On the right is my stream. Wow!
I'm actually going to be upgrading to a full sim rig here next year, so that'll be nice.
Ay. Alright.
Probably upgrade my wheelbase to a T300 as well.
Ay. Johnny John is getting an upgrade, boys. I have a Elgato HD60 as well. I just got it.
Cool.
I bought it for myself for Christmas. So that's what I'll be using to stream very soon. I will even have I'll have stream overlays. And I might even be able to stream simultaneously on Twitch and YouTube. Now that would be a feat.
We're moving up in the world, guys.
Thank you all for all the great support on these races as well. We've really been having quite a bit of fun doing these races here, and I would have no reason to do it if it wasn't for the fans. So, like Lewis Hamilton, this one goes out to the fans, as Vitality is having a very hard time connecting. Okay, Vitality. Any day now. Let me grab my Red Bull. Oh yeah. I'm gonna miss these Red Bull nights here on Sundays. Commentating these races. All jacked
Don't have
up.
to wait too long.
Yeah, we don't have to wait too long. Next season starts in January, as well as the WEC season. It will be starting in the first preseason race will be in January for that as well, and the full season will start in March. Both of the seasons will run concurrently on Sundays. The F1 race will be first, and then the endurance races, except for actually, no, not except for anything, because the F1 League will be over by the time we get to our Le Mans race. Hopefully, schedules don't clash.
That season's looking to be extremely competitive.
If we have a complete roster now for that season, but if any of you watching would like to be a reserve driver for that league, please contact me or Jonathan on PlayStation. Hey. Oh, he disconnected. Darn. please contact myself or John on PlayStation, and we can get you sorted out. I think we might be lobby glitch here because Dollar.
I saw a lobby restart being talked about. So.
I guess we're not doing a lobby restart, so welcome everybody to the UDL F1 League, the final round of the Season 1 Championship here in Abu Dhabi. My name is, of course, Mr. Jamage, once again joined by Jonathan. How is Jonathan today?
I am doing great. Looking to be a great finale to the season. We already had our championship crowned of Sniffer Pig, but they are still in the running for the Constructors' Championship, so that will be determined tonight.
Yeah, and the Constructors' Championship goes like this. If Ferrari gets a 1-2 and fastest lap, Red Bull has to score 6 points to win the championship. If they do not, Ferrari will come back and win the Constructors' Championship. Behind them, we have a fierce battle for third in the Constructors, as well as a really fierce one for fifth as well. Renault and Williams only separated by 6 points in the Constructors' Championship, and then Haas and McLaren only separated by 4 for P5. So it's going to be a very tight race in the Constructors, and then we jump up to the point standings. The driver's point standings, Sniffer Pig, of course, your champion for the year, and Pecan locked into P2. Breezy officially was locked into P3 in the championship as well, but the battle for P4 is really heating up. Sinister Owl currently in P4 in the championship at 109 points. Bossman, his teammate, 1 point behind him at 108, and Real Space Hero at 100 points. Honos at 95 points. And Greco, the only one with a realistic shot of getting 4th place. But I'm not sure if he's going to be here or not. So, we've got a 4-way battle for P4. And behind that, it's just super close all the way down. This is going to be a fantastic race here at the Yas Marina circuit. The most wonderful track and the best track on the calendar in so many people's mind. Now let's see.
There's some controversy at this track, but you get to see some beautiful cars and scenery while you're at the Yas Marina circuit. So.
Okay, so let's see if I can find somebody to follow. Let's follow Racer X in the Mercedes as he comes down the start-finish straight and goes into turn 1. A nice left-hander. You got a little 90-degree corner with a kink coming out of it, and then another very fast section of 2, 3, and 4. Nice fast sweeper there through turn 3. Very easy to go wide. And now we go into the chicane of turns 5 and 6, and then the second gear hairpin of turn 7. Very tough hairpin. You don't really know when to get on the throttle. It's very easy to go wide there. So now we go down the very long back straight that's not very straight. As I like to say, it has a nice wide open chicane right in the middle of it. You can see it right on your screen now. There's now Racer X coming down this back straight and getting on the brakes at about 150 meters for turn 8. This turn 8 and 9 chicane. Very easy to lose grip at the exit of turn 9 and completely destroy your run onto this next DRS straight. As now we come up towards the next braking zone, the final heavy braking zone of the lap through turns 11, 12, and 13. The triple apex chicane, not very loved by most of these drivers, as now we come to the very fast double right-handers into turn number 17, and then we're going through the hotel complex now with a nice 90-degree corner for turn 18, and then a 90-degree corner if you count this little kink of turn 19, and then about a 70-degree corner through turn 20, and then now up towards the final corner as Racer X pulls into the pit lane. So while that was happening, Sniffer Pig, the only one to put in a really flying lap there, with a 134.951. Breezy comes across the line, does a 135.974.
So, I have a question for you, Damage. You were lucky enough to partake in, or be here during practice for these drivers. What sort of lap times are we looking at?
Quite frankly, I do not remember, but I do remember that I was a second slower than everybody else. But in a practice session, you don't have max fuel mode like you do here. So I believe the fastest time in that practice session was a 1:35.1 set by Sinister Owl. So that 1:34.9 is looking pretty tasty there from Snipper Pig.
All right, sounds good.
It's now Zeus pips it up into P3 with a 1:36.2. Or no, never mind, that was Kill the Birdman that went up there. Kill the Birdman, but went into P4. What a 1:37.0. Boss Man, the only person on mediums right now. Lucas goes up into P4, takes it away from Kill the Birdman with a 1:36.9. And then Get That Money and Run puts in a 1:36.1. That's my sort of pace right there. Goes a 1:36.1 to put himself into P3. This track is very hard to get right, especially this middle sector. The hairpin, the chicane into hairpin complex is very hard to get absolutely perfect, and you can gain or lose up to around 3 to 4 tenths there. So it's very easy to screw that up. So now let's see where we are. Sinister Owl coming through the final sector now on his first flying lap of the session. Runs a little bit wide underneath the hotel. All of these curbs really slow down your momentum quite a bit because of how they're built. They're built really back to front instead of front to back. So now Sinister pulls into the pit lane. His lap must have been invalidated. So, I haven't asked you this in a while. Who do you think will be on pole position here for that Abu Dhabi GP here at Yas Marina?
Well, from what I've been seeing in these first couple laps, I think it's really anybody's game between all the drivers that are in the top 3 or fighting for 4th. All of them seem to have the pace to be able to do it. So I really can't say right now.
Pecan comes across the line to set a provisional front row time of 1:35.364. Him and Zeus, the two Ferrari drivers, really need to be on that front row and get Sniper Pig as far back as possible so that they have the best chance possible to win this Constructors' Championship. Like I said earlier, they have to get a 1-2, and Snipper Pig or Space collectively can't score more than 6 points for the championship to be in Ferrari's name. Shawsome coming around the final corner. He will set a 137.555 for the Mercedes team, put himself into P9.
And what people, need to understand is that the drivers' positions in this championship mean a lot now, due to the draft being announced for next year's season. Your position in the championship gains you a point for, or a draft position to be able to choose your teammate and team.
So far, there are 3 teams decided as the top 3 drivers in the point standings are wrapped up. So, Breezy has picked the Alfa Romeo team, and he will be racing next season with Racer X. Pecan will be in the Haas seat alongside Zeus. Zeus and Pecan will just be swapping over to that Haas team to drive together as Racer X puts in a pretty decent lap time there of a 1:35.803. And then Snipper Pig has picked the Ferrari, will be jumping in there and taking Pecan's seat, and he has picked Sinister Owl as his second driver. So that's looking like a very strong lineup in all 3 of those teams. It'll be very fun to watch next season for that Constructors' Championship.
I agree. Pecan and Zeus have really seemed to work well together this year. It'll be really interesting to see if Sinister Owl's luck can change at the end of this year or maybe the beginning of next year. He's had some really bad luck, but with a change of team and change of teammate, maybe he can pull something out. He has the pace, he just doesn't have luck on his side.
Coco goes a little bit wide in the penultimate corner and gets his lap taken away from him, so he's really going to be trying to put a lap on the board here. We still have 5 drivers yet to set a flying lap, so with about 7.5 minutes left, it's starting to get to where it's crunch time for all these drivers. Just to let everybody know, PSRT Boosted is actually Man-Man, and IX Vitality is the only new racer in this race with this 18-car field. Real Space Hero, I'm pretty sure, is just missing qualifying, and he will be here for the race, I would assume. And word around the street is that Greco will be joining the lobby after this qualifying session. As now we have a 3-way train here on the back straight with the 2 Ferraris and the Williams of Breezy. And they all 3 go right in front of the Alfa Romeo, very curiously, but the Alfa has to kind of swerve out of the way to stay out of their way. Now there's a racing point coming on all 3 of these drivers, and their lap has been absolutely destroyed. Drew Yu really got held up by all 3 of those drivers, as now is stuck behind the 2 Ferraris who are on their out laps. So very curious driving here from this group of 3. So now there's another car coming up behind these drivers. Okay, it's just the Williams again of Breezy. So very curious here from all of these drivers. Next car to cross the line will be the Red Bull of Snipper Pig. Can he improve? He does. He goes to a 134.671. Gonna try to jump back onto the times there. That was just a very interesting turn of events, so I wanted to make sure I got to see it.
I do have to say, it has been a pleasure watching this season through a spectator or a commentator's perspective. There's never been a shortage of action to commentate over.
Yeah, every time we feel like we're getting bored, is Killer Birdman such a great time. And that Toro Rosso to put himself up in a P6. Toro Rosso really needs some points here to hold off Racing Point. But it has been an absolute pleasure. And every time we might think we're getting bored, something always happens. Sinister Owl, by the way, is in P2. I'm at 135.1, matching his time in the practice session. The 2 Ferraris are holding hands now down this back straight, trying to give each other the toe. So now Zeus pulls out of the way of Pecan. I'm assuming they're going to give this gift back and forth here in the final laps of this session. And now Pecan got that toe. He's really going to have to put it to good use here if he wants to get this pole position.
So, what would your moment of this year be?
That is tough. My moment of the year would probably be, can I just do an entire lap? The last lap of the United States GP was probably the moment of the year. That race was absolutely amazing, and it had the best ending possible for such an amazing race.
Agree. That would be my moment of the year, but if I were to choose a most dramatic, I would have to say the entire first lap of the Belgian Grand Prix was just disastrous and horrifying to watch, but also at the same time very entertaining.
Pecan, with the help of his teammate Zeus with the toe, has gone up to P2. So he is back on the front row, but he still has quite a bit of time to get to be able to catch up to Snipper Pig, who is 5/10 clear of Pecan. Snipper, in that practice session that we were in and before this session, was only running on mediums, and he had very good pace on those medium compound tires, so I would not be surprised to see Snipper Pig have a lot of pace here in Abu Dhabi, but also wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of pace from the Ferrari of Pecan or Sinister Owl behind. All three of those drivers very capable, and Breezy in a lowly 7th for his liking, so he's really going to be pushing here on this final lap in his session to be able to do a little bit better. Dollar High comes across the line, goes up at a P6 for Williams, so currently out qualifying his teammate with a 135.869, only 1/10 separating the two. And actually, from P4 to P9 is only 0.2 of a second. Great qualifying so far there in the midfield.
Very impressive.
Honos is coming through the final sector now. I don't know if there's anybody in front of him or not. It is Get That Money and Run is in front of him, but he's pulling into the pit lane. So I'll jump back over to Honos, coming around the final corner now in that beautiful Alfa Romeo. Let's see what kind of time he can put up. And he goes half a second faster to go. 135.357, puts himself up into P4 on that second row.
Very close qualifying here. That's been a theme throughout the entire season. Our qualifyings have been very close.
Glenn Coco trying to put in his first flying lap of the session, goes very wide once again in the penultimate turn, and I'm pretty sure this lap might just get invalidated because of that. And yes, it was. So Glenn Coco really going to have to figure out that penultimate turn a little bit better if he's going to want to get any sort of a good lap time down on the board, or else he'll be starting in dead last for Haas, which is a very big blow to their Constructors' Championship. Sinister Owl starting his hot lap now, his final hot lap. I don't know who else can actually finish one. There's quite a few drivers coming out of the pit lane now, but I think they're coming out a bit too late. Pecan and I believe Racer X coming out of the pit lane now with only 1:10 left, but I don't know if they'll make it back around. So they rejoin right in front of the Williams of Dollar Hyde. So Dollar Hyde's going to be screaming inside of that helmet.
A very cool shot of Breezy doing 206 miles an hour down the back straight.
I sadly missed that one.
Perfect interior camera.
So now Bossman comes around the final corner in the Renault. We will have one more chance to get a lap down, and that was a cool down lap. So now he will be starting his final flying lap with only 20 seconds left on the clock here. Let's see who we have coming through the final sector. I think there is a Ferrari in the final sector of Zeus, and Breezy hits the wall in the final sector and retires from the session. So Breezy, huge disappointment for him, will not be able to get another lap on the board, as now the drivers that Get That Money and Run, Honos, Racer X, and Pecan did not make it back around in time. Sinister Owl has spun in the final sector.
Oh,
there's been a huge crash. What in the world is going on? I think the AIs of the drivers that were out that couldn't do another lap actually hurt quite a few drivers there. So quite a few people are going to be very irritated here, but there's not really much we can do. Shawsome comes across the line. It goes up into P5. I believe that's his best qualifying effort of the 2 races he has been in. Of course, his first race was in Brazil. Let's see who else is coming through the final sector. Lucas coming through the final sector now. He's a couple of tenths up on his last time. Let's see if he can get up into the top 10 and maybe give himself a good chance of some points to try to fend off the Kill the Birdman, who might be the only one in the Toro. So Lucas goes up into P11, but he's going to have to get quite a few points. Bossman comes around and goes up into P6, splits the 2 Mercedes. A great lap there at the dying seconds of the session. Kill the Birdman does not improve on his time. Let's see who else is coming through the final sector now. Zeus. And Snipper Pig is right in front of him, but I don't really care about him. He's already on pole. He's just going around to make a glory lap. So Zeus, Snipper Pig goes another 10th faster. Zeus comes around the final corner, only gets P12. So very disappointing there for Ferrari, and the last driver to cross the line will be PSRT boosted. So there we have it. Sniffer Pig with the final pole position of UDL F1 League Season 1 here in Abu Dhabi. Pecan right beside of him on the front row in that Ferrari, but Sniffer Pig a full half a second up. Sinister and Pecan very close, only 22 thousandths of a second separating the two. Sinister Owl in P3 and Honos in P4. Shawsome in P5 for Mercedes. Bossman in P6 and Racer X and the other Mercedes is in P7. Dollar Hyde in P8. Kill the Birdman P9 and Breezy fell down quite a bit there in the dying stages of that qualifying session after hitting the wall. Get that money and run in P11. Zeus in P12. Lucas in P13. The Stig P14. PSRT boosted P15. The greatest driver in the world of Drew Yu in P16 and Glenn Coco, the only driver to not set a lap. Very interesting. That crash was quite peculiar, but I'm pretty sure it was caused by AI cars. So, I don't know really what we can do about that.
UDL damage has left the session.
Yeah, we have to
I know.
do another lobby.
Don't worry.
Alright. So there we have it. There's our qualifying. Great qualifying session from about 4th to 10th. But up at the top, it was huge gaps there. Apart from Pecan and Sinister, some huge gaps in that top 4. Really the top 5. But then from 5th place all the way down to P13 is only around 0.6 of a second. So it's going to be very close in the midfield for those last 5 or 6 points paying positions, as long as the top 4 stay nice and clean. Oh, I'm ready for this last race of the season. I'm sad, but I'm happy. I don't really know what to think.
I know what you mean. It's been such a good season, and you want to see the results at the end, but at the same time, for a little bit, we're not going to be commentating races every Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. Very weird. Alright, so now that we've watched the qualifying session, here's my weekly question to you, John. Who is your podium prediction for the Abu Dhabi GP?
Let me think here. So, in my opinion, it is going to finish the way that the qualifying ended. Sniffer Pig in first, Pecan second, Sinister Owl third.
You know, that's really hard to go against, but I'm a fan of storylines. And one big storyline that could happen in this race would be Pecan on the top step of the podium. Zeus driving all the way through the field and getting on the second step, and Sinister Owl in P3 and Sniffer Pig not on the podium. That would create a great storyline to see if Sniffer Pig and Real Space Hero can win the championship for Red Bull and get that double championship. That would be an awesome storyline. But with the pace I'm seeing from Sniffer Pig, I mean, he's going to have to make some sort of a serious mistake for that to even be possible. It seems. Unless the game screws up and puts him on the wrong tires or something, I don't see this going away from him.
It has happened before. Dramatic things like that. The year I won the 24 Hours of Le Mans, I actually was started with almost no fuel and hard tires. So it has happened.
I mean, hey, people do make mistakes. And, I mean, you never know. He might underfuel the car this week and run out of fuel in the final lap. You don't know. So, we will see what happens. But, I will say, the battle for P4 in the championship is absolutely going to kick off here in this race.
Yes, it will.
So Sinister is in P3 in prime position to take that P4 into championship. But Bossman is in P6 right behind him. I mean, in the third row on the grid. Sinister is in the second row. Honos is in P4 on the grid. He will most likely have to get the race win to be able to get P4 in the championship unless something serious happens to all three of Sinister, Bossman, and Real Space Hero. Honos has the hardest shot of getting into P4, but it is very possible. It's going to be a huge battle between the two Renault drivers, though, and Real Space Hero as well in that Red Bull. You gotta watch out for him. He quietly just, quals up through the field, and all of a sudden, bang, he's in the top 5.
Yep.
If, of course, he gets to the session. I really hope he makes it, because that would be great.
What a year this has been.
Absolutely. This has been great. Very up and down season for a lot of drivers. I made a graphic the other day. Let me see if I can find it. I made it yesterday. On the championship battle for the driver standings. Let's see if I can scroll up far enough in the chat that I sent it to.
Yeah, I think I did see what you were talking about. What shouldn't be, brushed over is the fact that this league was started this year, and
yeah, it
has already gone this far.
Yeah, and I mean, I thank everybody in the league to getting me to where I am in the in commentating. I mean, this is a really fun thing for me to do every week, and I really appreciate every single person that has really helped me and John get to this position. And hopefully next year will be better for the UDL League. Hopefully we can get some sponsorship, get a little bit of a cash prize on both of our championships, just to make it that much more intense. And I mean, who doesn't like money? At the end of the day, we all like money. So, money, money, money. Call me Mr. Krabs. Winning money's the best part. So, the Season 1 championship started with Pecan absolutely flying out to the lead. At the 5th race, he was skyrocketed ahead of almost everybody, almost 100 points before anybody even reached 50. But then you got Snipper Pig, who went on an absolute tear in the middle of the season. And him and Pecan were so close in the middle of the season from round about 7 to around round 13 to 14. And it all started to fall apart for Pecan. Pecan had quite a few very unfortunate races there at the end of the season, between rounds 12 and 17. Where he didn't score for 4 races in a row. That really hurt his championship battle. Very unlucky for Pecan to have that happen. But then looking at the chart for P3 in the championship is absolutely immense. I mean, all 4 drivers battling for P3 just went over and under each other the whole time. Real Space Hero slowly crept up into the battle, and all of a sudden he's just right there. So very good battles here in the drivers championship, and hopefully we get a really fun ending to it.
I honestly cannot see this race going boring. Everything that has happened this year is leading down to this one race. So.
Absolutely. I mean, this race is the season finale. This race is the Constructors' Championship decider. And this race will decide P4 in the championship.
I like to look at this race as the end of the beginning.
Absolutely. I mean, this is only Season 1. Season 2's right around the corner. Season 3 right after Season 2. This league, hopefully we can elevate this league to be something that if you type in F1 League in YouTube, the first video that comes up hopefully will be one of my streams or one of John's streams of these UDL F1 League races. That's what I want. You know, that's really all I want.
Big hopes, but I see it possible.
I mean, that's
if we keep at it.
That would be absolutely amazing to have happen. I mean, it would.
And
it would be great.
Little announcement. We are still looking for another commentator for our WEC streams. So, if anybody's interested.
If anyone is knowledgeable about WEC and would like to be a part of it, give me and John a shout, or Pecan, and we'll see what we can do. Oh, all right, formation lap. Oh, my arms. I'm like anxious. The anxiety is setting in. The Red Bull is half drank. I'm hyped. Are you hyped? Because I'm hyped.
Definitely.
I'm going to go ahead and go through the field here. Snipper, Pecan, Sinister Owl in that top three. Honos in the Alpha, the top Alfa Romeo of the season. Has made an absolutely huge mark on this season ever since he started in Singapore and got that shock first win. Shawsome in P5 is second rates in the UDL League, already up in the top 5. Great driving from him. Bossman in that second Renault. It's going to be a huge battle between Sinister, Bossman, and Sinister, Bossman, and Honos, as we do not have Real Space Hero. That is a very sad thing to see. So Real Space Hero, sadly for him, he'll miss out on P4. He might even miss out on P7.
That is sad.
So it really sucks that he's not here to race. The entirety of the top 11 is on the soft compound tires. The only 3 drivers on alternate tires are Zeus on the mediums, Lucas on the hards in P13, and Drew Yu in P16 on the medium compound tires. So now we come through the hotel section, through the penultimate corner, and now to the final corner on this formation lap before the final race start of the UDL F1 League. I just got chills from saying that. As everybody pulls into their grid slots. All the drivers on the right, all of them are very crooked in their grid slots. You seeing this?
Yes, I am.
All right. It's very interesting. They're all trying to block off the drivers on the right, as now we have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5, and the lights are out, and away we go for the final race here in the UDL F1 League Season 1. Super Big gets off to a good start, but Pecan even better. He's looking up the inside, going into turn 1, further back. We got a 3-wide battle there. The Mercedes of Racer X going very wide, as now we come through the long right-hand sweeper in this first sector. Super Pig held on to P1, and Bossman looking up the inside of Honos, coming through this first chicane up towards the hairpin. He still might just have his nose on the inside. There's a little bit of contact, but Honos gets him cleared. Gonna jump back here to this fight in the midfield. This is very close between all of these drivers. It's a huge slipstream train going down this back straight. The 2 Mercedes are probably going to be battling here going into this next corner, but no, they stay in line. We got 2 drivers side by side towards the rear of the field. Boosted and Glen Coco side by side. Glen Coco missing the chicane. Jump back up towards P6 here. The battle for P6 and P5 between Bossman and Shawsome, but Shawsome will just stay right behind him into slipstream, going through this next chicane and through this left-hander.
Somebody missed the chicane. That was Lucas, and runs wide as well.
So after the first lap, Pecan, Sinister, and Hono still within reach of Sniffer Pig. It's really just a huge train. We're side by side here for P7. Right now, Breezy and Shawsome fighting it out here through the final sector. Still side by side going through the final corner. Breezy trying to get this overtake done, but will not quite be able to get it done onto the Mercedes of Shawsome. So Breezy for now will have to stick with P8. He's already gained 2 positions here in this opening lap. Sniffer put a little bit of a gap there. He's got a few tenths of an advantage, but Pecan is getting trailed really hard. Dollar Hyde is falling down the screens, and I'm not quite sure what happened to him. Lucas goes into the pit lane. Dollar Hyde had some sort of a crash, I believe. Yeah, he's got half of a front wing, so huge disappointment for the Williams driver. That'll really hurt the Williams' chances of getting 3rd place in this Constructors' Championship. Now Sniffer Pig only 6 tenths ahead of Pecan, in the same gap to Sinister and Honos behind. So now they come through the three apex chicane and through the final sector. Oh, that was a great camera angle coming through the kinks. Pecan goes a little bit wide. That was really going to hurt his run through the hotel section. So Sinister got a little bit of time on Pecan there. Honos a little bit over a second back from Sinister now. He's really going to have to get it in gear if he's going to want to keep up with these guys and have any sort of a chance on getting on the podium.
This is looking like it's going to be a great race throughout the entirety of these 28 laps.
Sniffer Pig has pulled out of the DRS zone of Pecan, so Pecan's going to be vulnerable to Sinister Owl on this back straight. It is now lap 3 and DRS is enabled. Sinister and Honos nose to tail with Pecan coming through the 2nd gear hairpin. As now Sinister will have his DRS open, ERS wide open. But no, he's just content with staying behind. Honos throws a little bit of a dummy look to the inside, and he makes contact with Sinister. In the apex of that corner, Honos mixed his braking point there, and Sinister lost a lot of time. It's now not in the DRS of Pecan, so very unfortunate there for Sinister. That could have just ruined quite a bit of Sinister's race there if he doesn't catch back up to Pecan here in this final sector.
Honos and Bossman are looking to get into that fight.
Bossman really hungry to get in front of Sinister Owl. Either one of those drivers, if they beat each other, that will be their championship position.
Still in a battle, side by side.
Oh, Shawsome loses it in the exit of the corner and might get overtaken by Get That Money and Run as well. But he stays ahead. I am pretty sure they're still side by side. Terrible camera angle here. Is now Get That Money and Run loses the back end a little bit coming out of the second to last corner. And Shawsome will hold on to P8, but Breezy got through to P7. Sinister is back into that DRS range of Pecan and gaining. Oh, and Sinister spins! Sinister spins out of P3, and he falls down the order. He breaks his front wing. He has a plank on the right-hand side, and that is going to be huge for this championship. As now he is going to have to make a very early pit stop and probably switch onto the hards to try to go through to the rest of this race. Very unfortunate there for the Renault driver. And that will open up P4 in this championship wide open for Bossman to take.
I don't feel like that was the way Bossman wants to take a championship from his teammate, but I don't think he'll say no to it either.
Bossman and Honos side by side. Bossman gets the overtake done onto Honos. Now Bossman takes over P3, and he will be trying to inch into that 2.5 second gap to Pecan ahead to maybe get on another step of the podium other than P3. All these drivers, I'm sure, would like to have the title of the last race winner of 2019. Pecan still within about 1.5 seconds of Snipper Pig, and it fluctuates throughout every turn. Snipper Pig a little slower on entry, but gets better exits off of the corners. Pecan driving a little bit deeper into the corners, but not quite getting as good of an exit. Once again, Snipper Pig pulling away just a little bit every time they get onto the throttle.
Get that money and run right on the diffuser of Shawsome.
Sinister is now in the pit lane, and he has switched onto the hard compound tires, so he's going to be looking to go to the end of this race and try to salvage something out of this. What could have been, and a good chance of even winning this race up until that moment. As now Bossman and Honos are looking to battle here on this back straight. Honos pulls to the inside, coming down the back straight, going into this first chicane, and he will pull ahead. Bossman will try to do the over-under here at the exit. He did get a better exit, and he will have DRS. He pulls to the right-hand side to go all the way around the outside of both of these kinks and the next corner, but he breezes by. So Bossman takes back over P3 here from Honos. And if these two drivers want any sort of a chance of being in the top two, they better work together. Breezy sends one up the inside of Shawsome, and they're still side by side now, coming through the end of the middle sector and into the final sector. As now Shawsome takes back over P6. A great battle here between these two drivers, and it's allowing quite a few drivers to catch up behind. Breezy goes a little bit wide there underneath the hotel. A terrible camera angle here, absolutely horrific.
Contact on my
now Breezy goes around the outside. Shawsome gets overtaken by both Breezy and Get That Money and Run. So now Honos still right on the back of the Renault of Bossman. Breezy, Get That Money and Run, Kill the Birdman, and Shawsome all within DRS of each other. Kill the Birdman trying for a move up the inside through this first chicane into the hairpin, but not quite. Oh, he tries to send it up the inside. Get That Money and Run thankfully sees him and gives him the space, but now Get That Money and Run is out of the DRS zone of Breezy, and that'll release Breezy to try to catch up to Racer X ahead. Kill the Birdman trying to get this overtake done with DRS. Get That Money and Run goes defensive as now they come into this chicane. Get That Money and Run out brakes Kill the Birdman. Kill the Birdman's going to try to get a good exit here, and they get about an equal exit. A little bit of a lag spike coming out of the corner there, but now Kill the Birdman will have DRS once again onto Get That Money and Run, and he will pull to the right-hand side, but not quite close enough. So Get That Money and Run, some great defensive driving there to hold on to P7.
Great driving here.
It's Breezy. Breezy has missed the right-hander at the hotel and gone, I believe, into the wall. He has no front wing, so Breezy really putting a dampener on this championship battle for P3 and the constructors, is now he's going to have to pit. So if there's one thing that could have went Sinister's way, it is that. So now Kill the Birdman also is in the pit lane. So I'm not quite sure what the strategy is looking like for this race. It might be a two-stop. It might be a one-stop. I'm not sure. But if they're pitting on, like, if Kill the Birdman pit on lap 7 without any damage, then he's definitely going for a two-stop. And he did go onto the softs, so he is definitely doing a two-stop, while Breezy went onto the hard compound tires for the one-stop. Honos looking to the outside of Bossman, going into the chicane. Out breaks Bossman and almost clears him coming through the corner. Once again, another terrible camera angle here. These camera workers are very lazy here around Abu Dhabi. Is now Bossman going up the inside, and he makes contact, and now Bossman has broken his front wing, and he has spun across the track. None of these drivers want P3 in the championship, and now Honos takes over, or excuse me, P4 in the championship. So Honos now takes over the reins for P4 in the championship. As long as he goes mistake-free for the rest of this race, he will most likely take P4 away from Sinister Owl and Bossman. That would be an amazing fight from him to get back into the point standings from joining so late. He has to score 14 more points than Sinister and 13 more points than Bossman to be able to get P4. Now, Racer X and Shawson both pitting on the same lap. It's very interesting. They're going to be stacking here in the pit lane. Shawson, I'm not quite sure why he just pit right behind Racer X. He's going to lose a ton of time. Bossman also in the pit lane. Very busy pit lane this lap. There are only a few drivers left that are left yet to pit. The entire top 6 still hasn't pit. Racer X might just come out right in front of Kill the Birdman, and he does. So Racer X will be in P7, Sinister Owl in P10 after his collision right behind Shawson. So Sinister lost a lot of time with that broken front wing. Lucas and Bossman battling for P15 right now. Lucas holding on to the position for now. And I believe he is barely out of the DRS. No, he does have DRS on the Stig, so he should be able to defend that position quite well.
The field's getting pretty spread out as the pit rotations come in.
Yep. As now Snipper Pig goes into the pit lane, followed by Pecan Honos, and most likely get that money and run. Drew Yu will stay out as he is on the mediums to lead his first laps of the UDL League, I'm pretty sure. It depends on if he actually gets out in front of these drivers. Coming through the pit lane exit now, Drew Yu hasn't even made it to the final corner, so sadly for Drew, he will not lead his first lap here. As Sniffer Pig is coming out of the exit and will be firmly in the lead, followed by Pecan and Honos. Drew Yu in the background coming over the bridge in P4 currently. Racer X right behind him in P5. Kill the Birdman, a great effort from him in that Toro Rosso to get some good points for that team. So everyone has finally pit. And after the pit cycles, Sinister is in P9, Breezy is in P10, and Bossman is all the way down in P14. So now we have a battle for P11 here. Glen Coco and Zeus side by side. Glen Coco takes the position away from Zeus. Drew Yu gets overtaken by Racer X for P4, but once again, like I said earlier, Drew Yu is the only one not to have stopped so far.
I'm wondering how well Drew Yu's strategy is going to work here.
Yeah, this one stop might get him some good points. Depends on what these other drivers are doing. We can see that Racer X is definitely on a 2-stop, as well as Kill the Birdman, Get That Money and Run, and Shawsome, by what I remember. So, I think it's a very nice split strategy here from all these drivers. Some are on a 1-stop, some are on a 2-stop. So it'll be very fun to watch this as they all come together at the end of this race.
Very.
After the pit stops, Snipper Pig has almost a 5-second gap on Pecan, pulled quite a bit there on his in laps and out lap. And Honos is 3 seconds behind Pecan. Racer X splits the fastest lap of the GP on those fresh softs. So he's going to be looking to chase down Honos to get onto the podium positions for now. But like I said earlier, he's going to have to stop again. So Racer X going to have to make as much out of this stint as possible. Kill the Birdman right on the back of Drew Yu coming into this first chicane. He's right behind him. Let's see if he sends one up the inside. No, he does not. He waits for the DRS. Smart move there from Kill the Birdman to just stay right behind him. Glen Coco and Breezy battling once again. Glen Coco gets back by Kill the Birdman with the help of DRS. Gets by the racing point of Drew Yu for P5.
SRT getting decently close to Lucas right now.
A little bit of contact in that chicane between Breezy and Glen Coco. Glen Coco goes wide there, and Breezy will take over P10. Not quite sure what happened, as once again the camera angles are terrible. Lucas gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. And Get That Money and Run, and really Drew Yu. Beautiful move there from Get That Money and Run. It goes around the outside in the double right-handers and takes away P6 from Drew Yu. Glen Coco takes P10 back away from Breezy. So Glen Coco and Breezy really battling right now for this final point. We know how good at defensive driving Glen Coco can be. I mean, he puts his car in the perfect spot all the time. Lucas gets another time penalty for multiple warnings this time. He's really racking up those penalties. Shawsome gets past Drew Yu, so now Drew Yu is in P8. He's going to try to get those mediums to last as long as possible so he can go on the hards for the end of this race, I would assume, and do a one-stop. Some great battling here between Glen Coco and Breezy. Now Breezy right on the back of Glen Coco once again as they come through the hairpin. Glen Coco on the softs, Breezy on the hards, so a huge tire differential here, just showing how much pace Breezy has to be able to keep up with Glen Coco. As now Breezy once again in the DRS, he will stay behind for now. Slight look to the outside, but he'll be trying to get a better run on the exit, and it looks like he might just have gotten a better run. So now he will have DRS coming into the second chicane. Going down the second back straight through the left-hand kink, he will pull to the right-hand side, and let's see if Glen Coco missed the chicane. He did. Glen Coco misses the chicane, cuts it, and gains a huge advantage out of it, so that'll definitely be one that the stewards will have to look at. It's cutting and gaining an advantage. This is really the only battle on track right now, so it's really the only one that we have that we can really cover. There's quite a few just over 1 second gaps. Kill the Birdman's the only other person in DRS range other than Breezy, and Glen Coco is actually pulling away from Breezy here in this first sector. So, and he has broken the DRS of Breezy. So, as long as he gets a good chicane and hairpin here, he will be out of that DRS of Breezy, and he will be able to try to catch up to Sinister Owl in front of him.
Yeah,
Honos.
It's been pretty spread out race so far.
Pecan made some sort of a mistake, and now Honos is in the DRS of Pecan. Pecan now 9 seconds back from Sniffer Pig. Whenever they came out of the pits, it was only 5, so he's losing quite a bit of time on those hard compound tires. So now Honos is in that DRS, but not quite close enough to make any sort of a move as he slows it down for this Triple Apex hairpin, or the Triple Apex chicane. Glen Coco now eating into that gap that Sinister Owl had on him. It was around 2 seconds at the start of this lap. Now it's only 1.2. Sinister Owl catching up to Drew Yu ahead. Sinister has the DRS on Drew in that racing point. Drew getting to the very end of the lifespan of his tires. The Stig has retired from the session after getting a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. Dude, what is this camera angle? Please tell me. I can't see a thing. Like, what is the point? I can't see the entire corner. Sinister right on the back of Drew Yu here coming out of the final corner. Let's see if he goes for a move into turn 1. The pace of Drew Yu on those very old mediums is going to be way different to Sinister's on those hards, which are also pretty old. Remember, Sinister had to pit early because he did get wing damage after his spin in this exact spot.
When did Stig DNF?
Just now.
Oh, okay.
So now Honos and Pecan battling it out in the first chicane, and Honos gets the move done onto Pecan. So Pecan is now in P3. Honos is in P2. So a great drive here so far from Honos. from, I believe, where was he on the grid? Let's see. Honos was P4 on the grid. Now he's in P2. So good driving here from Honos to get himself onto the second step of the podium. It's going to be hard for them to catch up to Sniffer Pig in P1 though. Sinister Owl gets the move done onto Drew Yu, and now it's Glenn's turn to get the move done on Drew. He goes up the inside through the next right-hander. Drew Yu does a little bit of a switchback on him. Breezy gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. There's a little bit of contact here through the right-handers, and Drew Yu holds on to the position for now. This is racing for position because Drew is doing a one-stop while Glenn is doing a two-stop, so... Very smart of Drew to try to hold up these drivers as much as possible. Glenn goes very wide there. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. Now Breezy pushes Glenn way far off of the track there. Now Breezy's going to try to get this move done onto Drew Yu into turn 1, but not quite close enough to do it. Drew Yu gets a really bad run out of turn 1. Glenn Coco goes a little bit wide. Now they're going to go side by side through the right-hander. Let's see if they can make it work. Breezy does a little bit of rally cross there, but he takes the position away. But now Glenn Coco sending one up the inside of Breezy. Not quite close enough to get it done, as now he'll have the outside for the hairpin. A little bit more contact. These two drivers driving with their elbows out. Breezy gets back in front of Glenn Coco, but Glenn Coco will have the DRS, I am pretty sure. Yes, he will. He's already alongside before he even opens up that DRS letterbox. So now Breezy will be trying to get back by as soon as possible onto Glenn Coco. Wow, this is a great battle here for P9. I mean, these guys are battling for very small points. Bossman and Spoos side by side here, coming down the second back straight. Going to jump back up to this Glenn Coco and Breezy battle. They're side by side once again. Glenn Coco once again with some great defensive driving to hold on to P9. Breezy is absolutely fuming under the helmet. I am sure of it. How he cannot get past Glenn.
He made some slight contact in the back end, but didn't seem to affect either of them.
So now Breezy looks up the inside here, and Breezy might just get the move done on the inside underneath the hotel section, and he does. So Glenn Coco now in P10 with Breezy in P9. See if Breezy can break this DRS of Glenn Coco. Glenn's softs are wearing out now, whereas Breezy's hards are just now starting to get worn in a little bit. So Breezy, if he can pull away and get out of this DRS, he might just have the chance of getting away from Glenn Coco for once. As Glenn is a little bit over a second behind. He's really going to have to pull in quite a bit of time here onto Breezy to be able to catch back up. He's just within a second after the chicane. Let's see what it is coming out of here. And he is, I don't think he has gotten into the DRS. No, he has not. So Breezy finally, after so many laps, gets away from Glenn Coco. I'm going to jump back up here to the battle for P6. Killer Birdman and Shawsome battling it out. Killer Birdman on the sauce, Shawsome on some sauce as well. Shawsome's tires are 1 lap fresher. Get Out Money Run and Racer X as well. Very close proximity to each other. Oh, Breezy made some sort of a mistake. Glenn Coco is right on the back of him now. Glenn Coco looking up the inside, but not quite close enough to get any sort of a move done. Now Breezy's going to really have a handful once again of Glenn. Racer X pulls into the pit lane for his second stop. Glenn Coco gets a 3-second time penalty for track extending multiple times. So now Racer X goes to the mediums for his final stint of the GP. Glenn Coco trying to catch up to Breezy here, and Glenn pulls into the pit lane, so that releases Breezy to finally not have to battle for a lap or two. Racer X comes out of the pit lane right next to Breezy. These two drivers are going to be battling, and now Racer X does some rallycross driving there, as Breezy did not know that he was there coming out of the pit lane and just left him zero space on the outside. So Racer X had to resort to the chicane curbs there. But now Racer X in that DRS of Breezy. He's going to try to get by as soon as possible on those fresh medium compound tires. He'll have the DRS. He cruises right by Breezy in the DRS straight, clears him in the chicane. Let's see if Breezy gets a better exit. Breezy will have the DRS here. Gwen Coco has retired from the session. And John has sneezed. So Racer X looking to the inside of Breezy, or Breezy looking to the inside of Racer X, sorry. And Breezy will take back that position for P8. Breezy in a feisty mood here today. He's been in a lot of battles. And he lets Racer X back through, so not quite sure why. He must have messed up and cut the chicane or something. So now Breezy misses that braking zone as well, and Racer X is going to be able to pull away quite easily from Breezy with those fresh tires. Bossman gets past Drew Yu. Drew Yu still on those mediums. Let's see how far he can take these. He's on lap 15 on those medium compound tires. Kill the Birdman and Shawsome both pit for new tires to finish their second stops. Let's see, and Drew Yu pits after 16 laps on those mediums. Let's see if these medium runners of Snipper Pig and Honos can hold on to it and stay.
Oh, Bossman spins it. Oh, he caught it. Very sideways coming through there.
Snipper Pig has lapped Dollar Hide. Zeus gets past Drew Yu. Drew Yu will come out in P12. That long stint has allowed him to go onto the softs for the end of this race. And now Drew Yu has retired. He lost it. Now there's a virtual safety car. These drivers better make sure they don't get a penalty here. A drive-through penalty at this stage would be very bad for all these drivers.
I'm very impressed with Sinister Owl, who's worked his way back up to 5th after losing his entire front wing.
Yeah, great stint here so far from Sinister on those hards. He's going to have to work really hard to hold on to that. There's a 17-second gap ahead of him to get that money and run, who still has one stop left. So really, he's probably in P4. Snipper Pig had enough time here under the virtual safety car to pit for new tires and only lose maybe one spot. And he might not even lose one. Racing starts back, and he does lose one position, and he will come out right in front of Pecan. So Snipper Pig, very good decision from him to go on some fresh mediums and save that heartache at the end of the race. Sinister gets ahead of Get That Money and Run, who is now pitting for those mediums. So Get That Money and Run would be relegated down to around P8 probably, P7 to P8. So Sinister, great comeback drive so far, but he is now 18 seconds back to Pecan in P3. Honos, though, if he can hold on to this track position, if Snipper and Pecan start battling for P2 here, Honos can pull a good gap and maybe win this GP.
That'd be a very impressive win.
I will say, since Sinister is back in P4, a win would most likely be the only way he can actually get P4 in the championship. So, Honos really going to need to try to hold on to this as much as possible. So that would be the best way to outscore Sinister by 14 points. So now we have yet another retirement from the race. Dollar Hyde has crashed out, I'm pretty sure. Yes, he has. There he is against the wall. The exit of the third to last corner. Snipper Pig, though, right on back of Honos already. So Honos is sitting duck here for Snipper Pig, who is on those fresh mediums. Speaking of sitting ducks, Sinister is getting reeled in very fast by Racer X behind. Pecan is losing touch to these front two on those hards. He's going to be really hoping that Honos' tires fall off towards the end of this race. Sinister's going to really have to play as much defense as possible to keep the Mercedes of Racer X behind to keep his championship hopes alive.
This is getting to be a very interesting final few laps.
That virtual safety car really threw a wrench into things and made Snipper Pig's lead vanish after he pit. But since he is on those fresh mediums, once he gets past Honos and breaks that DRS, it shouldn't be too hard for him to pull away. We already know he has the pace, plus he has fresh tires, as he just cruises right on past Honos for P1. Honos probably going to try his hardest to stay on the back of Snipper, and Racer X has gotten past Sinister, so Sinister is now in P5, and there's a train of cars right behind him. PSRT boosted in the middle of all these drivers. He has the blue flags now, as the McLaren is getting the toe off of him, and now boosted lets him go. So Sinister might fall down a few more positions here, and if he does, that'll make Honos' life way easier at the front trying to get this P4 in the championship.
Losing position pretty quickly here.
Yep, Sinister now into P6. Get that money and run, flies right by him, and next person to catch him will most likely be Shawsome, not Breezy. Shawsome and Breezy fighting it out. Breezy misses the braking zone there, and Shawsome gets an easy ride right through to P7, and he's only 4.5 seconds behind Sinister, who is on his very old hards. So he might have some easy pickings here for Sinister Owl in the next few laps. Same with Kill the Birdman on Breezy. Breezy also with a good comeback drive. Currently in P8 after losing his entire front wing. So let me see. Let me do
comebacks in this race.
I'm gonna do some calculations real quick. So let's see what the championship's looking like currently. Snipper Pig sets an absolutely blistering lap. Honos is in the pit lane. Honos going in for another stop here. I'm not quite sure why, and now he's going to be relegated down a good bit here. Actually, he might stay in P3, and he's going to put on the softs. This might actually be very smart. He's going to go for fastest lap here to try to get an extra point. But, I mean, honestly, he should have kept track position and stayed in P2. Actually, I don't know if those mediums would have lasted another 7 laps, so...
He's also looking to see if he can maybe pass Pecan. He may not be able to pass Snipper Pig, but with his new softs and Pecan's 12-lap-old hards, he might be able to get that position back.
He might be able to. This might be a Lewis Hamilton versus Verstappen at Hungary Part 2 here. But instead of a Mercedes and a Red Bull, it is a Ferrari and an Alfa. Alright, so time for me to calculate here. So, currently with Honos in P3, he would gain 15 points, which would put him at a total tally of 110. So currently, the way it sits, Sinister would be P4 in the championship, with Honos P5 and Bossman P6, with around 4 to 5 points separating the three. But if Honos catches up to Pecan, he will gain 3 more valuable points, plus if he gets that fastest lap, that'll be 4 more points. And if so, I believe they would tie. Let me make sure. So Sinister will get 8 points. So Sinister will have 117. No, they won't. So Sinister... Oh, Sinister's about to lose another position to Shawsome here. So the more positions Sinister loses, the better chance of Honos. And wow, Honos has cut 2.5 seconds out of Pecan's gap already. This is going to be close for Honos to get past Pecan for P2. He is absolutely flying. Yeah, man. Get that money and run. Gets a very, very important penalty there. If Sinister can just get into 3 seconds of get that money and run, that's a free position. He gets a 3-second time penalty. Shawsome right on the back of Sinister now. He's in that DRS. He is in the slipstream. He pulls to the left-hand side in that Mercedes and will just blow right past Sinister Owl. But thankfully for Sinister, the next closest person is Breezy behind him. And Breezy is 7 seconds back on another set of old hards. So Sinister might just stay in P7. So 7th place is 6 points. Get that money and run, gets past Racer X here. Let's see. 7th is 6. So that puts Sinister at 115. Honos. If Honos gets second and the fastest lap, that's 19 points. So that will put him at 100 and that will put him at 114 points. So Sinister Owl can still get 3rd place by 1 point as long as he comes home clean for the rest of this race. He can beat out Honos by 1 singular point if Honos gets P2, which at this point I feel like he will. Breezy goes into the pit lane to try to get the fastest lap maybe. He's going to be going on to some fresh softs. And maybe Breezy can steal away this fastest lap from Honos, and if he does that, well, Honos has to set it first of all. And he still hasn't beaten Snipper Pig's lap. Actually, let me make sure. Okay, race director. That doesn't show fastest lap. Okay, never mind. Oh, wait, yeah. Wait. Okay, Honos. Okay, 138.3. Snipper. 138.7. So Honos does have the fastest lap of the race currently.
Racer X and Get That Money and Runner in a pretty decent battle right now.
You know, Sinister might lose another... Yeah, that's what's on my screen right now. You know, Sinister might lose another position to kill the Birdman if Kill the Birdman has good enough pace. I mean, Sinister's on 18-lap-old hards compared to a 6-lap-old mediums. So Sinister's tires have to be ailing at this point. And Honos has already cut that gap in half to Pecan. Really into a third. I mean, he's only 6.5 seconds behind.
He will not have the pace to catch up to Snipper Pig, but he's definitely on pace to be able to catch Pecan.
Absolutely. That'll be a great race for P2 here at the dying stages of this race. I feel like this race for P4 might go on for quite a while here between Racer X and Get That Money.
I have to agree with you on that one.
Wow, this championship's going to be decided by if Sinister Owl can stay ahead of Kill the Birdman and if Honos can catch up to Pecan. Let's see if Breezy can get that fastest lap from Honos, and if he does, that'll take 1 point away from Honos. But if Sinister loses 7th and gets relegated to 8th, that'll be 2 points, which would tie them, which means Honos would get P3 because he has 1 win and Sinister does not. So now Get That Money and Run. Very aggressive move to the inside there. Great move, it doesn't quite make it stick. Now he cuts the 3rd apex and is alongside. But Racer X, some great defensive driving there. Is now Get That Money and Run looking to the inside through these double right-handers. Oh! He lets out of it and Racer X pulls back ahead. A little bit of contact there on the apex. Racer X shuts the door on Get That Money and Run. Get That Money and Run goes down to the 1st gear for some reason and loses quite a bit of time.
Yeah, down to 4.6 seconds from Pecan.
Kill the Birdman crucially made a mistake and has lost quite a bit of time. I don't know if he'll be able to catch up to Sinister now. He lost around 3 seconds this lap. See, he's going into... No, he's not. Okay, it looks like he was. Okay, so... Wow, yeah, Honos is definitely going to have a chance at P2 here. He's probably got around the same pace as Snipper Pig right now. Breezy takes away P9 from Bossman in the final corner, and he takes the fastest lap. Sinister Owl gets a 3-second time penalty. Oh no! So kill the Birdman. I'm actually gonna check penalties real quick. Let's see. Race director, incident. Let's see. Lucas. Okay, Stig has a time penalty. Breezy has a 3-second time penalty.
Oh, and Racer X spins it.
Of course I missed something. Racer X spins. Did he break his wing? No, he didn't. Very lucky for Racer X. But now Sinister's right on the back of him here. Sinister might be able to get this position back. He's gaining, but not quite in DRS range. And he's going to lose a ton of time. Honos only 3 seconds back here with 3 laps left, so he only needs to get a second per lap to be able to catch up to Pecan. He's in his sights. He can see him. He's right there. That Ferrari is so close. And now it's only 2.3 seconds. He gained so much time there in the final corner alone. And I feel like through these corners he's going to gain a ton of time too. Everything fast is going to be towards the soft way. Wow. This is going to be a great race for P2 here in the dying laps. Sinister trying his hardest to hold on and try to catch up to Racer X here. Does a little bit of rallycross and loses a little bit of time. The last thing Sinister wants though is to get any sort of a penalty to add on to his other penalty or to spin or break his front wing.
Yes, he has enough time to unkill the Birdman to be able to, you know, stay in his 7th place position, but it's going to be close.
He really needs to preserve those 20-lap old hards instead of pushing like he is, because he's really going to drain those tires, and he might even risk getting a puncture here at the end of this race, which would be devastating for him. Pecan struggling on those old hards, gets a ton of oversteer on throttle there as now we go through the hotel section. Thankfully, we have a good camera angle finally.
This will be a race on the final lap. Not sure how much fight Pecan can really put up in this situation, though.
I don't know if it'll be on the final lap. It might just be this lap. He's already within half a second almost of Pecan. He's gaining very fast through these sweeping corners. This is where he gains a ton of time every lap through this first sector alone. And then through this middle sector as well with all of the traction zones here. Pecan's just losing so much time. He's going to have to get a really good exit and use all of his ERS deployment to try to stay ahead of Honos here. Honos opens up that DRS. This will be a wonderful stint here in the final dying laps of this race to be able to grab back P2. He looks to the outside of Pecan going into the chicanes. He outbrakes Pecan. Pecan trying to hold on to it, but not quite close enough, but he will have DRS. As long as he gets a good exit, he will have a chance here coming into the second chicane at the end of the second DRS straight. Breezy has made some sort of a mistake and has lost time. Honos gets passed back by Pecan, and it will go down to the final lap as long as Honos doesn't make any sort of an overtake here in this final section, which he really can. I mean, he's a lot faster through here than Pecan is because of the traction zones and the fast corners there. I mean, look at how much time he just gained. He's right on the back of him here going through the hotel section as now we have this horrendous camera angle again. Why can't we go back to the other one? Where's the helicopter? Now he is right behind Pecan here. Honos trying his hardest here on the final lap of the GP. Snipper Pig, a 20-second gap to Pecan. Unbelievable driving here and pace from Snipper Pig, and a wonderful, wonderful brain on that kid to pit under that virtual safety car and not lose very much time. So Honos within 3/10 of Pecan here going into the chicane and the hairpin for the final time. Now down the back straight for the final time opens up his DRS, and Peacon's going to have to go very defensive here and try to hold on to this position. He got a very good exit, though, against Honos, and Honos is not close enough to go for it here. Honos might have used all of his ERS last lap, or he might just be saving it for this straight. You never know. He's just got a supreme exit there. Peacon got a horrendous exit, and now he will be looking to the inside, now the outside, going into this last chicane. Let's see if he can get the move done. Peacon and Honos. And Honos gets the move done, but Peacon right there behind him. I would not be surprised if Peacon tries to get this position back. Peacon pushing
Honos
very hard.
Honos has quite a bit of ERS left.
And Snipper Pig comes across the line to win the Abu Dhabi GP, the final GP of the season. Honos pulls a 1 second gap onto Peacon and will steal away P2 from the Ferrari driver. Great driving there out of Honos to come back from that 15-second deficit to get back into P2. Peacon comes across the line to get P3. He slows down quite a bit and then goes across the line. Get That Money and Run will be in P4. Shawsome right behind him, only a second behind. I'm pretty sure Get That Money and Run has a penalty, so Shawsome will take P4 here. Racer X coming around the final corner now. He will take P6. Sinister Owl in P7. Good comeback drive from him after losing his front wing. Kill the Birdman only 1.2 seconds back after the penalty from Sinister. Bossman, very sad race for him. He will come home in P9. Breezy is retired from the race here on the final lap. He will be in P10. And the last driver is PSRT boosted. He will be in P12. So there you have it. Sinister Owl is P4 in the championship. Honos is P5 in the championship. And Bossman is P6 in the championship. Only 10 points separate those three drivers. What a year.
It's been an incredible season. Congratulations to Snipper Pig on winning the championship. Congratulations to Peacon and Breezy on second and third.
Oh, wow. So there you have it, everybody. That was the final race of Season 1. An amazing drive there. Gets P1 for Red Bull Racing and secures the double championship for Red Bull. Honos with a great drive there. A great third stint there on those softs. Comes home in P2. Peacon, a good effort on that one stop, but just not quite have the tire life that he needed. Shawsome comes home in P4 after that time penalty for Get That Money and Run. Racer X in P6. Sinister Owl in P7. Kill the Birdman in P8. Bossman in P9. And Breezy rounding out the points in P10. The only other two finishers were Zeus and PSRT boosted. The DNFs were Dollar High, Drew U, Glen Coco, and some other people that I didn't see. See, yeah, so there we have it, everybody. That was the final race of the UDL F1 League Season 1. Sniffer Pig, once again, was your champion. Red Bull Racing is the Constructors Champion. Double championship for Red Bull Racing. Peacon in a very strong P2 in the championship. And Breezy in P3 in the championship after his 3-race ban. Wow.
Incredible season.
I'd like to thank every single one of you that has tuned in to all of these races. Whew. It's been a year. I'd like to thank everybody that's raced these races. Every single one of you. And thanks to everybody that tunes in every week to our streams. For the final time this year, my name has been Mr. Damage. His name has been John.
I am John.
And I will see you all next year. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.